Good morning, all. This is Dr. Rita Dinesh here, and today's class we're going to see what exactly is agile virtual organizations. So nowadays, organizations are becoming a way to ahead of the changing business scenario. So what actually we're going to discuss in today's class is like definition of agile virtual organizations. What is it actually agile virtual organizations standing for? What are the characteristics? What are the benefits and challenges of agile virtual organizations? And a case study to narrate the same. And a small quiz to understand that whether you guys are clear with the concept which has been discussed over here. Then we will come out with a summary and the conclusion at the end. And I'm playing a small video also so that you all can have an understanding related to what exactly is agile virtual organizations. So when you see the video, you get an idea regarding why organizations nowadays are moving towards becoming more agile and virtual in nature. We can see that there is a growing trend after the COVID and the pandemic has struck so hard, even the business world, that there is a change which has been taken forward by organizations also to become more virtual in nature, irrespective of any geographic locations that they serve. The virtual organizations are the best way to do the business. So I hope after watching the video, you got an idea regarding what are agile virtual organizations. Why is this concept of becoming agile virtual organizations are really getting on to the business world? So the concept speaks about agile virtual organization is like they represent a modern approach to teamwork, like combining the principles of agility with the capability of virtual organizations. So adapting quickly to changes with leveraging a global talent pool. So you can see over here, agile virtual organizations actually represent the modern approach to teamwork. So you will have an idea what exactly is this modern approach to teamwork. Like teamwork can be combining the principles of flexibility into it. For example, if there is a change happening related to the business environment, an organization and its structure need to incorporate these changes. Otherwise, I'll remain futile. In the similar manner, and agile virtual organizations can adapt quickly to the changes while leveraging the global talent pool. So it becomes agile and virtual in nature so that I can get the necessary talent that is required from any geographic locations and run my organizations with the type of the flexibility that I'm looking into. I think now you know why agile organizations are becoming more and more important in today's scenario. So there are certain characteristics which distinguishes agile organizations like, they have a distributed teams, like they consist of teams that are geographically dispersed, not just in one geographic location, but they are into various geographic locations. Then they adapt agile methodologies such as Scrum to manage their project. And the next one is there is a focus on communication. There is an effective communication which is critical in agile virtual organization, and such a structure in agile virtual organizations permits the right amount of communication. And there is a self orientation, like self organized, meaning that the team members take responsibility for their work and collaborations to make decisions. I hope these points are clear. Now, one more is like this continuous improvement, because agile virtual organizations embrace a culture of continuous improvement. It doesn't stop from one aspect, or maybe taking into consideration the entire aspects of distributed team, agile methodology, and focusing on communication. They bring in continuous improvement. So I hope the concept of agile virtual organizations are clear, and their characteristics also. What are the characteristics of agile virtual organizations? That is also clear to every one of you. If you have any clarifications, you can unmute yourself and ask. And I think like the video which you have just now seen, that would have given you the right inputs into what exactly Agile organization stands for. I would love to hear one or two words from any one of you. I can see various names that is popped up on the screen. Can I ask any one of you to just unmute yourself and tell me what do you think about Agile virtual organizations? And, they just now we've seen certain characteristics. Which do you think is the most, needed characteristics in today's scenario? Maybe one or two can answer these questions. Then we can have a deliberation on the same and then move on to the next point. Thank you, guys. That was a real good involvement from your side. Thanks for those wonderful answers. Now, anything that we do, there needs to be some benefits also. So there are certain benefits to agile virtual organizations also. Like we have seen, why is it that agile virtual organizations are becoming more and more famous and more gaining importance in the business scenario? Like they have increased flexibility, as we all know that when it becomes virtual and when it becomes agile in nature, they just don't restrict within the geographic locations. They go ahead of these geographic locations and they are able to operate anywhere in the world. So there is flexibility, like modular nature, which allows to quickly adapt to changing market conditions and the client needs. So these type of organizations are able to change their structure based upon the client needs and the changing business scenario. An excellent flexibility that we can say. Now there is enhanced innovation, like bringing together various diverse perspectives around the world. Because as I told you, agile organizations operate in various demographics and also various types of geographic locations. So what happens is like they bring in innovation, creativity across the world. So there is no boundary as such for agile virtual organizations. So what happens is like I get the talent pool across the world. Now this faster delivery is also possible because they emphasize short development cycles like sprints, allowing teams to deliver, incremental improvements rapidly. So this is also another advantage when it comes to agile virtual organizations. Like there is cost efficiency also, like virtual teams, they can reduce the overhead cost associated with physical office spaces. Like we all know that when we have physical office spaces, we need to pay the rent, we need to pay the EB charges, we need to pay the water, we need to pay all the other expenses associated with running in organizations. Whereas when it comes to agile virtual organizations, all these aspects does not involve anyone. So there is also cost efficiency because there is reduced cost and organizations can operate with a leaner structure, allocating resources more effectively. So these are the benefits of agile virtual organizations. Like they have increased flexibility, they have enhanced innovation, they have faster delivery and cost efficiency. So I'm sure now these points, what we discussed on the challenges as well as the benefits and the concept is clear. I would love to take one or two questions from any one of you. If you have any doubt or any clarifications, or you think the concept is, needs to be given little more understanding in particular point, what we now just discussed, you can just stop me over here and then we will continue. So when we spoke about, the various concepts like the benefits, characteristics, there are certain challenges also. Along with the benefits, they do have challenges also for agile virtual organizations. When become virtual and agile, what happens is like there is barriers to communication. Like when we are in India and, like some other place where the same people are joining in our virtual team from somewhere in US or UK, for where there is difference of time zones, or for Malaysia for that matter, anywhere, the time zone differences and lack of face-to-face interaction, this is something which could be really challenging. We all know that even though technology has advanced so much, it is always like, we would love to have face-to-face interaction and, have face-to-face more, deliberations between the team members. That is one thing. So there is a barrier to communication when it comes to agile virtual organization. Next is team cohesion. So when you need to have the team cohesion and, the trust and camaraderie among the team members, that becomes little challenging in virtual environment. For example, when we are working in an office and when we are, in the office, it becomes easy for me to talk to my people, get along well. But when we are online, it becomes a real challenge. How is it that I know this person? Most of the time, some of my counterparts or some of my teammates, I wouldn't even be meeting them. I'm just, seeing them only online. So the team cohesion, bringing all of them in a team together and taking them further, that becomes, really, really, really adventurous. And next is dependency on technology because we are virtual. So we, heavily depend on digital tools for communication and for project management. So this is also another challenge until unless we employ the right type of technology and its tools, it becomes extremely challenging and difficult to manage such agile virtual organizations. Now, the cultural differences, especially. For example, like working with a global distributed team requires sensitivity to cultural differences because each team or each member join from different geographic locations. So each one of us share various types of culture, value system. So taking all of them together as a team is another challenge as far as agile virtual organizations are concerned. So I'll repeat again the points just now, what we discussed as what are the challenges for agile virtual organizations, like communication barriers. We all know that, isn't it? When there is a difference in time zone and there is lack of face-to-face interactions, how do we even communicate with other team members? That becomes, like really challenging. This is the same case with agile virtual organizations. When we become virtual, it becomes really, really, really tough to have, interaction with our own team members. Now the team cohesion, the same thing. When we don't have proper communication, it becomes really challenging to take them as a team. Then there is a dependency on technology for everything to come in online, to bring in the discussions, to have the team meetings, everything we need to depend on the technology. So we need to have the cutting edge technology and the competitiveness related to technology. So that is also another challenge when it comes to agile virtual organizations. Next is cultural differences. Like we all know, each one of us represent various cultures. In the similar manner, imagine when it becomes various geographic locations, it becomes extremely challenging, isn't it? Some of us, even from representing from different states itself, it becomes really difficult for us to communicate, for us to change the, have the changes in perspective. Everything is challenging. In the similar manner, when we represent different cultures, so just imagine how challenging it will be. So these are the challenges that agile virtual organizations have to face. So I think like these points, till now what I discussed on the concept of what exactly is agile virtual organizations, what are the characteristics, how do we call an organization agile virtual organization, then we saw the benefits, and just now we've seen the challenges associated with agile virtual organizations. Any questions, you can stop me or you can unmute and then ask the questions. Anything? I would like to give a pause before I move on to the next aspect. I think all these, what we just now discussed, is clear to everyone. Now, what is the best practices that an agile virtual organizations can take? Establish clear goals so that you know where you're going to achieve, what you're going to achieve, exactly when you're going to achieve. Then utilize the collaborative tools and regular check-ins. Foster a supportive culture so that each team can take the other team into consideration and then move ahead. Invest in team building. So there is better team building and there is better cohesion between the teams. So if your organization is an agile virtual organization, what are the best practices that you need to have in this agile virtual organizations is what we just now said. You have to establish clear goals, what your organization want to achieve, what each team or each employee needs to achieve, that should also be very clear. Now, utilize the collaborative tools so that as a team, you can collaborate, interdepartmental collaboration is possible, and regular check-ins are also there. So you are actually monitoring the progress. So if you monitor the progress only, you will be able to achieve the goals that you have fixed as agile virtual organizations. Then you need to have a supportive culture. a culture which is dependent on supporting each team, whether it is interdepartmental, whether it is within the department, or whether it is between, or it is within the various diagonals of the organizations, or between the various geographic locational teams also. There is a collaborative environment, and you invest in team building, building teams, which is based on trust, commitment, which is based on the best proper communication possible. So if you want to have an organization which is built on agile virtual organization, there needs to have these best practices. So, when we have seen all these things, you would obviously be asking the question, ma'am, can you give us an example for agile virtual organizations? Why example? We'll just give you, everyone here, the youth, amongst the youngsters, the most used part for listening to songs or anything. We all know that Spotify, isn't it? So I have taken this example as a case study for agile virtual organizations like Spotify. We all know that all of us use Spotify, the popular music streaming platform, has been at the forefront adopting agile methodologies. Okay, in a virtual organization setting, they actually adapt the kind of agile methodology technologies, and they work as agile virtual organization. So we can see that Spotify has successfully extended the agile practices beyond software development to other departments, showcasing the versatility of agile principles. Just now, what we discussed, how you need to be an agile virtual organization. Spotify is the best example for that. So, what are the key practices as far as Spotify is concerned? They have a flat hierarchy. There is no hierarchy which is based on, like top to bottom. It is flat in nature. So, they empower teams. Anyone can interact with any other team. You can exchange ideas. So, it's a flat structure. Then alignment of personal interest with projected goals. So what happens, like Spotify actually promotes innovation and creativity among the team members, so among the employees also, so they can pursue the project aligned with their interest. Here, if I am an employee of Spotify, I am the one who's going to choose the project. So there is interest and creativity because I love that concept and I love that project and I'm choosing it. There is not anyone from the hierarchy, my top officials or my senior person, who's thrusting it on me. What a wonderful concept, isn't it? That is why I think like Spotify is able to be in the market, and each youngsters are able to connect with them because they, as an organization like agile virtual organizations, they implement the best alignment of personal interest with the projects. The next is leveraging the Scrum framework. Like Spotify utilize Scrum to handle shifting priorities, inculcating flexibility, and enhancing collaboration among the various teams. So this is also using, the best Scrum framework, so that, you're using the tools which is, giving you the best teamwork that is possible. So you can see here the benefits of such a system being an agile virtual organization. Spotify is successful application of the practices of software development, including HR, finance, and strategic planning, and effective collaboration among geographically dispersed teams. Spotify, functions in various geographical locations. So there is a coordination between the teams and adaptability to changing market conditions. They incorporate, innovation and creativity when and where it is needed. So there is flexibility in the structure and increased innovation. As I told you, there is creativity and innovation. You would have seen if you check the Spotify app itself. There is a latest songs, there is a comparison of songs. You can listen to podcast, you can listen to any other aspects of videos or songs, or can streamline, you can download. So all these concepts, they keep innovating the best. So, you can understand that Spotify is one of the best, examples when we speak about, understanding the concept of agile virtual organizations. So here, I think this case study highlighted agile is not just a tactical tool, but it is an integrated tool, which, has to be continuously innovated and continuously adapted. Okay. So there should be clear communication for agile virtual organizations to be successful, and agile methodologies can be successfully applied irrespective of any geographic location. And you have to foster a culture of autonomy, innovation, and continuous improvement. So this case study on Spotify makes you understand that agile virtual organizations can be successful, because we are seeing Spotify, which is one of the best and successful organizations who are who have used the principles of agile virtual organizations, and you can see how they have leveraged these concepts of agile virtual organizations and they are able to bring in. Okay, so I think the concept is clear. We have seen what is agile virtual organization. We have seen the characteristics. We have seen the benefits, and we've seen the challenges with a case study of Spotify as an example, isn't it? We've just seen how Spotify is able to be successful as a agile virtual organizations using the principles of agile virtual organizations. So let me just see how far you guys have understood the concept. We'll just have a quick quiz. I would like everyone to, clap and raise your hands. We all know we are also virtual. So I want you to use the icon of raising the hands if you know the answer. And I would love to see, each one of you clapping for the person who gives the answer also. So we will be recording the entire concept. So those who answer, we'll be having a special, ceremony to give them the kind of compliments, and they, actually get some points also. Isn't it interesting? Okay, so my question is like, what is a defining characteristic of agile virtual organization? We have discussed about various characteristics, isn't it? So do you think any of these A, B, C, D, which is the right answer? Is it a centralized decision making, or geographically dispersed teams, or fixed project timelines, or minimal use of technology? Which is the right answer for the right characteristic defining agile virtual organizations? Yeah, correct. Answer is B, that is geographically dispersed themes. Thank you very much. And that shows that in the quiz, you all are able to give the right answers. So that shows that the concept is really clear. So before we close down, we will just have a small summary of what we have learned today and what is the key learnings, so that you will be understanding what we discussed over here. We discussed about agile organizations and their principles and the key characteristics, which include geographically dispersed teams, using agile methodologies, reliance on communication, and self-organizing and empowered teams. That is also the characteristics of agile virtual organizations. Then we have seen the benefits of becoming agile virtual organizations, like flexibility, global talent. You are able to incorporate global talent, not limiting it to the place where you're just operating. It is spread across the dimensions. So it becomes easy for the organizations to get the best talent across the world. Then fostering innovation, creativity, and streamlined processes. It's organized and streamlined process. Then, we have seen the challenges also, like there are communication barriers, and there is a team cohesion, and the team building is actually really challenging because it's virtual in nature, and there's a dependency on too much on technology. So we need to get the best technology in place. So these are the main challenges what we saw in the class today on the agile virtual organizations. So there are successful agile virtual organizations. We've seen the example and case study of Spotify, from which you can focus on, if you focus on clear goals, process, and communication channels, leverage the best collaborative tools, conduct the regular retrospection, and in the sense like the best type of feedback and methodology, then any organizations can become agile virtual organization and bring in these best practices. And since there is a changing business environment, which we all have seen, I'm sure these concepts that we learned about agile virtual organization is very clear. I would like, one person or one or two people to just tell me one or two points from one after the other, what we discussed. Yes, you can raise your hands, show the icon. I'll ask. Yes, thank you. Very good. Thank you very much. Yes, one more person. I would love to have one more person giving me, the kind of one more concept which we discussed. Yes, thank you very much on the challenges. So I'm sure that with these deliberations, you all have understood the concept of, agile virtual organizations. And with this, we are closing today's session. You have any clarifications, I have left my email address and my contact details also. You can always reach out to me, and these notes will be shared in the LMS. So you can have these recordings also, plus these PPT will also be shared in the LMS. So you can go and have a look at it. And the, reading material, I'm sharing the same. What all reading materials which will support you understanding more about the concept, that is also I have included. So thank you very much for your kind listening. We will meet for the tomorrow's class. Thank you very much.